Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. It is time for our weekly PGA show. It is Wednesday, October the 14th, and we are fired up to be bringing this pretty great field to you in the PGA today in a shootout in Las Vegas. So, love to introduce my partner in crime here, the switch-hitting golfer himself, Mr. Andrew Hansen. How are you this wonderful hump day Wednesday?
I'm doing well. I feel like I'm ready to tee off on the first tee. You know how all the golfers get that introduction before they tee off. So yeah. This is Wednesday tee off day for us at a really exciting venue. You know, this is where that one-on-one match for $9 million a couple years ago, and what a fantastic show that was, finishing in the dark where they had that makeshift little par three. And as exciting as that was, unfortunately, neither of those guys will be playing this week. And the guy with the course record at Shadow Creek, Dustin Johnson, is out. Unfortunately, he tested positive for COVID-19. So those big names won't be there. But like you said, star-studded field. Most of the top-ranked golfers worldwide will be here, and it's a no-cut event. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Love it. You know, for those of us that sweat out trying to get all six guys in the stinking cut every week, and there's always one that seems to lag behind, that you don't have to sweat that. So I love it. I love it. I know that I'm going to get a full weekend of golf from my studs, and that's all there is to it.
That's right.
So it's fantastic. But outstanding, man. This is exciting. We've got an NBA champion now in the Lakers. We're right in the middle of NFL football. Well, you know, still in the first, really third of NFL football. So we're really firing on all cylinders there. Baseball's down to the divisional series. So we've had some really fun in that aspect as well. So we've got everything cooking here at Coach Talk. It's a great time to get involved. We just finished a fall special that we're not offering anymore because it's more conducive to go with our weekly, monthly, and annual pass. But we will be announcing very shortly the big buzz, and we alluded to it a little bit on our last NBA pod, but we're going to have a winter special that's going to possibly be even more savings, or at least equal to or slight more than the fall special. So that'll be announced shortly. We do ask that if you're watching this on our lovable YouTube, that you take a second, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little alarm in the corner so you know every time one of our podcasts posts. And really, if you want to try to win a free 1-month membership, all you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel throughout the month of October. And on Halloween, we're going to be pulling out a winner out of the randomizer for a 1-month free membership. So we would love to have you jump aboard. Now, before we get into, and actually as a lead-in, we would like to thank our presenting sponsor, BetUS.com.pa. They are the best in the business. They've been around 25 years. I've been a member 13. I love them. Just did a withdrawal from there, coming off a hot little stretch there in baseball and basketball. And all you got to do is use the promo code COACH, all one word, no space, and don't put the DFS at the front, just straight Coach Talk, and you get 125% match on your first deposit, which is an exclusive offer to us here at Coach Talk. So definitely take advantage of that. All right, speaking of BetUS.com, this is always my favorite time of the PGA podcast, is trying to stump the brainiac golfer here, Mr. Hansen, which I never get to do. So I'm trying to think. I'm going to go in this pocket right here and see if we can shake something up. Because all right, I'm going to give you an advantage this time. I didn't do last time.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you the top 10 as far as favorites to take down this based on BetUS.com.pa. John Rahm is your favorite. at plus 1,000. Rory McIlroy, 13. Thomas is jumped down to 12, so he's getting early action. Schauffele, 13. So those four are chalky. After that, it's a big cluster of guys. Patrick Cantley, 24, which is good odds for him because he's getting hot. Your buddy Brooks Koepka, 24. Matthew Wolff down to 2,000, so he's getting some early action. And then you've got Colin Morikawa, 2,800. Tyrrell Hatton, 2,400. And Tommy Fleetwood, 3,000. So you got some big bangers there. That's not a bunch of chumps by any stretch. So here you go, man. 11 through 15, you get, I'm going to make it tougher. You got to get 3 of them, and you only get 2 misses this time.
Okay. Well, I kind of like this because this is you're zeroing in on an area of the board that I really like here for DFS this week. This upper mid tier, I'll call it. So okay. Guys like Hideki Matsuyama.
That is correct. He's plus 2,800.
Guy who's had a great year recently, Daniel Berger.
He is next on the list. Yes, 2,800. So you're 2 for 2, 3 spots left, 1 winner remaining.
And did you mention our man Tommy Fleetwood?
I did. He made it at the last guy in. Yeah.
Okay.
So that doesn't count because I already gave you that one.
How about Victor Hovland?
That's correct. You swept the board again, plus 3,300.
I'm ready. I'm ready for Vegas.
Good Lord. This is your tournament. I feel it. But yeah, that group there is Berger, Matsuyama, Hovland, Fitzpatrick, believe it or not, Oosthuizen. So I figured those 2 would stump you a little bit, but you got the other 3 that I was worried about you getting. Harris English, my man Scotty Scheffler, Sergio Garcia, and Abraham Answer, and then Jason Day. So how about the fact that the guys that have slipped down, it catches my eye, all the way down here in the mid-20s, Ricky Fowler. What happened to Ricky Fowler? Gary Woodland, who was a no-brainer for me all the time. Justin Rose's game has gone downward pretty quickly. Yep. Just some names that had sort of stuck out. So that gives you an idea. This CJ Cup. Do you want to explain a little bit about the tournament, where it was supposed to be played, what it's like a little bit? I know you're the king of the course history, which really is helpful.
Yeah. So this event was supposed to be in South Korea, the CJ Cup, but because of the coronavirus concerns, everyone involved decided to move it to Las Vegas at the unique spot in Shadow Creek, which is about a half hour north of Vegas. And it's a high rollers course. You get invitations there, and all the famous guys like Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky. You get those types apparently who play it and love it. It's because it's like an oasis in the desert, and very lush, even though it's in the desert. So it's a unique spot. It's par 72 though, 4 par 5s. Pretty long course. It's over 7,500 yards, but you've got the air there, so it's not as long. Yeah. And mixture of waters on 9 holes, 74 bunkers. And the difference from last week is they're much smaller greens, so more of a premium on tee to green, strokes gained approach. And the scores probably won't be quite as low as last week, but awesome course visually. And, again, with the no cut, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, this is one of my favorite courses, just to see the surroundings, the rocks, the waterfalls, the mountains in the background. I mean, I remember, any time they played anything here, watching it, I always get the yips to I got to go play golf. I want to get out there on the golf course because it has such a beautiful look to it. But you can't, if you're not hitting the ball well, there's definitely water and things that can get you in trouble. So, but the way they'll have the course set up, the thin air there in Vegas, I would assume that the scores will still be fairly low. They'll be, you're not going to have your guys, chunking and scrambling in the rough. So I think it'll be a little bit better from that standpoint. All right. Well, we've talked about the odds, who the favorites are. Usually we start with some mid-level and value plays. Let's just start right up top today on, if you're going to put a quarterback or two, or team captain, if you want to call it that, even though that's not how you don't pick a team captain for DFS in these golf deals. It's you're picking the whole deal. So, but who would your top guy or two that you're eyeballing in this top 20 per se?
Well, I like a lot of the guys from 11 through 20. So I guess in terms of 1 through 10, I'm not going to get there as much. I do like the build here of several guys in that 11 to 20 range. But if I'm going to make a lineup with a couple guys in the top 10 in terms of pricing, I think the guy that probably jumps out at me first is Justin Thomas. I like his recent form. A lot of these guys have gotten a fair amount of rest from the U.S. Open, and so on the one hand, that's a good thing. On the other hand, I kind of favor guys who played last week in Vegas at the Shriners Hospitals event. So it's it's an interesting balance there. But JT is up there. I like Xander. His recent form I like, and then Matthew Wolff is in that top 10 range. And, coming off basically back-to-back second place finishes at the U.S. Open. And then last week, he's absolutely on fire. Maybe not quite as good of a course for him with, the smaller greens and, tougher putting potentially. But for a guy that's playing that well and, just went low, right down the street last week, I think he's worth considering.
I think he's going to be really highly played. And I found a stat I want to share with you, Andrew, because it was sort of stunning to me. Because, Wolff is known for his length off the tee.
Yes.
And generally, the guys that are long off the tee are the ones that murder. And with these par fives that are reasonable, they're not silly par fives like 668 on that one course and stuff. I think a lot of the top guys that'll come out of this tournament are going to be guys that, pop the eagles on those par fives, because there's a lot of strokes that you can gain there.
Yes.
So what I wanted to do is I pulled together the most eagles on tour for all of last season and the first couple of events here, because they've reset the stats board. So now you have to combine them. And I just want to give you a quick view, and I'll go through it fast, but the listeners, I think, want to hear this because, if this is the top 20 guys as far as eagles, and this is in very eagle happy course, I think that's where you have to score. Here are the guys that are on this list. Some aren't in the tournament, but most of them are. But rather than skipping, I'll just read right through it. Morikawa, Hoblin, Johnson we know's out, Stallings, List, Rory, Hubbard, Matsuyama, Carlos Ortiz, Adam Long, Fabian Gomez, Cameron Davis, Scotty Scheffler, Nick Taylor, Joel Damon, Adam Hadwin, Ricky Fowler, Bubba Watson, Rob Oppenheim, John Rahm, Sam Burns, Lanto Griffin, Wyndham Clarks, and Matthew Naismith. So that's, where's Matthew Wolff? That's my question, because that was when I looked this up, I was like, okay, this dude's super long. You got some super long guys here that are way down the list. My guy, Patrick Cantley, way down. You've got even further down than that, just some names that I thought were surprising. Would you believe Bryson DeChambeau's 50th with that?
That's surprising.
8 miles off the tee. Then you've got another guy, just something, here he is, number 80, Matthew Wolf. Very surprising to me. Sun JM, we know he's more of a putter. And then other guys that surprised me down low, Harris English. I know he's not super long, but not to be 89th in Eagles, that was a little detriment. My man Gary Woodland, who I always play, 90th, and he is pretty long. So that's a little disheartening. There's some iron issues, wedge issues there for sure. And then the last two, Jason Day and Webb Simpson down in the hundreds. So just something I want to throw out there. It doesn't come into play in a lot of tournaments, but I think you're going to see a lot of those double circles on guys' scores that are on that leaderboard. So wanted to share that.
I like that stat. Anytime you get a course with 4 par 5s and not absolute monsters, like you said, and a guy like Morikawa, that's one of the reasons I like him in general. Such a good ball striker, great on the par 5s. With Matthew Wolf, it's funny because I guess I just don't really remember at the beginning of last year what was happening with him, but he has certainly turned it on because last week he had that 9-hole stretch where he made 3 eagles. He almost made a 4th. And crazy. So, before long, he'll be right up in that top 25 where we would expect him in terms of eagles made because of his distance. So I think he's trending in the right direction. But I do like that stat for this week for sure.
Okay. I appreciate that. I think so. I think it has some, it could be a little bit of a differentiator when the guys are so close at the top. So, all right, the pay up guys. I know I started this out by talking about who are our pay up guys, or one or two that we're looking to be the core of our squad. Do you want to share anybody there?
Yeah, other than the 3 that I mentioned in the top 10. Yeah. Where I may get one of them for most of my lineups, but I'm going to build some where I don't get any of them, and I'm going to go more in that 11 to 20 range. Yeah. And a couple guys I like in there. Victor Hoblin is one of them. I mean, you mentioned him with the par 5s. Yeah. Great tee to green, which is something I looked at for this course. He was number 20 last year overall tee to green, and he's only 9,000 on DraftKings and 10.1 on FanDuel, so he's a really good price.
Reasonable for sure.
Abraham Answer is way too cheap in my opinion. He's 8,200 on DraftKings, only 9,400 on FanDuel. He was 42nd last year at tee to green, and last week he was 4th at the Las Vegas event, and he was 2nd in putting in the field. So wow, if you combine his tee to green play with a hot putter, and he's only 8,200, that's going to be one of my core plays. Really,
I think he's underpriced. I agree.
Yeah, really, most of those guys in the 11 to 20 range I like. Sung J M, I think, is finally trending in the right direction. He was cold there for a bit. It was just sort of, finishing in the 50s. It just wasn't doing much, but he's trending up. Harris English, he's part of a group that I want to mention where last week he missed the cut, but he was 5 under par. The cut was -7. That was tough.
That was rough.
I had
two guys at -6 that didn't make it, and I was just sick.
Yeah, I had a lot of English and Morikawa, and he just missed the cut also, right in that 6 under range. So I kind of like that group, guys who played last week in the area, missed the cut, but they were right there and playing well at 5 under. So he was 5 under. Scheffler was 6 under. He just missed the cut, and then I'll save a couple more in that category for our value group.
Okay. It's worth mentioning, I'm glad you brought it up, that they played last week in Vegas as well. So the group that did play, they've been settled in, and had maybe some extra time. Maybe some of them got cleaned out in blackjack and have to win it back now.
Right.
So we know, but there should be a little bit of an advantage on the non-travel piece for some of those guys that played last week. And just, the comfortable aspect of not having to travel and set back up for a tournament and everything else. So I think that is a very, very good point.
Before you get to the next area of focus, because you mentioned travel, I want to jump in and mention the European guys, because they had a big event last week in England, the BMW Championship, and a couple guys I want to mention from that group. Tyrrell Hatton, he won.
He's playing great golf, man.
Yeah, he was great there right after the restart, and then sort of wasn't quite as sharp, but he's coming off a big win. And Ian Poulter finished 5th in this tournament, and he's pretty cheap. He's $7,400 on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Matthew Fitzpatrick was top 10 in that. And then Tommy Fleetwood was 13th. He was also 2nd the week before in the Scottish Open. So I wanted to mention those guys because they're in good form, but they've got, big travel to come from Europe, a little bit different than those guys who just played down the road in Vegas last week.
Oh, yeah. Huge travel in with the COVID stuff and the, isolation stuff and all that comes into play. That certainly can be an irritant for these guys who are just used to their schedule and being out on the range and doing what they need to do. So, yeah, unfortunately, there's all these extra things we got to figure into DFS. DFS is pretty darn tough as it is. Then you have all this bubble travel, COVID, all these things, but we're all in the same boat. We're all trying to figure out the magic bullet on all this stuff. But, I was saying, this is such a good time to get involved here at DFS Coach Talk with all of the football coming up. Certainly terrific baseball playoffs and World Series coming, and then all this excellent golf. And there's some big events coming. I love when they go out to Hawaii too. Those are always fun to watch. Somebody shoot 30 under par or some craziness. It's sort of the opposite of watching the U.S. Open, but those guys are machines, that's for sure. But anyway, in coming aboard here, like I said, the big announcement that we'll be making soon will be the winter special. But do you want to talk about how to join, or if you want to try us out for a week, or what's the best way that our listeners can jump aboard at DFS Coach Talk?
Yeah, it's really easy. You just go to our website, dfscoachtalk.com, and select the length of time you want for your membership, the week, the month, or stay tuned for that winter special. And then we'll just send you an email, invite you to our Discord, and that's where we give out our lineups about 30 minutes before lock, depending on the sport, sometimes 45. And we give out a full lineup on FanDuel, cash lineup, and a GPP. And then on DraftKings, we give out the coach's clipboard with highlighted core plays and then a bunch of pivots. So it's a fun mix, and we just do it right there in the Discord. That's where we interact with all of our members, and it's a lot of fun. So we'd love to have you.
And I'll tell you, we have the strongest group of members. I'm telling you, I've been around the DFS places, spots, and stops along the way, and I've never seen such, we drop, because we break everything down the way we do and hand build and go through nuances that give us edges. It seems like we draw those type of people, people trying to really, not cut corners, do it right, figure it out. And, just it makes for such a great Discord. Like, I'm just scanning right this second and looking at some of the terrific banter back and forth as far as who to like, who not to like, who may be sitting, what is this BVP, in the tonight's baseball game. What on and on and on. And just a quick mention to some of these dudes: Moneybag, Josh EQ, of course, JG 49210. Then we have some other monster sharp guys: X-Man 1161. Then we've also got, of course, the famous Slim to Goat 78. Man, he is on it like nobody else.
Yep.
And last couple, just because I've been in, chatting with them all morning and sweating stuff with them last night. Bond 213, fantastic. wonderful guy to have in there. GV7461. And I'll do one last one because there was one guy I was looking for. Where is he in here? Now I can't find him. Well, he'll show up. Whoever he is, he's not going to ever know who he was because I couldn't find him. But that's the group. We've got so many more that are jumping in all the time, and we would love to have you join us. Absolutely love to have you. All right. We are going to get into the mid-level plays, and it sounds like Andrew is using my old line idea of building, which is ignore the big price guys, don't have to dumpster dive, and build a great team from the middle. So I'm always one for that. And to be honest with you, I'm probably going to do that again. Once you have success in a sport, building a certain way, you always want to go back to it. But not that that's always foolproof, and it depends on the tournament. And yes, there are 4 guys in this tournament that are much chalkier with Rahm, McIlroy, Thomas, and Schauffele. And then you have a big drop off from there as far as building that team. So let's jump right into, Andrew, a couple of these mid-range guys. I know you've touched on some of them already, but give us a little more preview of who you're considering on this Wednesday for the tournament. And the other nice thing about Vegas, Andrew, it doesn't start super early for those of us here in Central or Eastern, so you can put your lineups in on Thursday morning and not have to get up before the crack of dawn, which I call KBO time.
Right, yeah. It's completely different there. But although you will have time to mess with the lineups in the morning, make sure to reserve your contest now because the contests are filling up quickly on both sites.
Yeah.
So to give a little bit more context here for some of these mid-tier guys that I've mentioned, Sungjae Im was 13th last week, right down the street. 1 in strokes gained off the tee, so he's striking it well. I mentioned that Answer was 4th last week. Cantley was 8th, which was good to see. After he was kind of cold in the summer, he wasn't doing much.
He stepped up for sure.
He stepped up. He's in that mid-tier price range. Scheffler, like I said, he missed the cut, but he was 6 under, so he's in consideration.
Yeah.
And then Tommy Fleetwood is in that same group at 9,100, who's, after the restart, he took some time off, and then he came back, and he wasn't really sharp, but now he really is coming in good form. So I'm going to be more interested in him this fall. So those are some of the guys in that middle tier that I like. And, the thing I like about that build this week is a lot of those guys in the 9K range on DraftKings and high 8K range. I mean, there's a big group of them that could easily win the tournament.
Oh, no doubt.
If you don't have those top 5 guys in the world rankings in an event like this, then they're going to be priced up there over 10K. I mean, the only reason these guys are priced down where they are is because it's 78 of the best guys in the world. That's so great. Really, starting with that 11 through 20 range and down, you just have guys that are cheaper than they usually are. And some of them don't deserve to be that cheap. So that's why I'm excited about that mid-tier build.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll just tell you right now, the core of my team, the base, is not going to have any of those $10,000 or $11,000 guys. None of them. I think you got to, in my list at least, begins with considering Patrick Cantley. I know I play him a ton, but I just think when he's going right, he's just really tough to beat. And, if you ask a guy that watches golf but doesn't watch it a ton as far as keeping stats and everything else, you would say, yeah, Cantley, he's supposed to be phenomenal, but seems to have been a little disappointing this past season. Well, he hasn't been. He made 15 out of 16 cuts, and he's been hovering in that top 10, 15, 20 range. And for those guys, when you're sitting around 15th, 18th in a tournament, you're like one shot away from being, right there on Sunday. It's not like it's just razor thin between those guys. So his game is still sharp. His putting looks sharp. I just think he's a danger to win every week. I mean, I plopped a few pennies on him last week to win it, and I may do that again this week. I just think when he's going full tilt, he doesn't really have a weakness to his game. And then the other guys, you mentioned Tyrrell Hatton. I think I'm going to skip him this week for the reason that you gave. He's coming off a win, traveled from overseas. That's a lot on those. I know that's what those guys do for a living, but not having it's magnified here because the rest of these guys have been in place for 14 days. So I just think, as good as he is, I think that part scares me. But here's the group that is going to be. I'll mention 6 guys in a row, and they're from 9-1 all the way down to 8-6. And let everybody chew on these guys and see what you think. But I could easily play Berger, Fleetwood, Hoblin, Scheffler, M, and English. That's that group. And they're all literally bunched together in pricing. But you can make that work, especially without paying up to the guys that are 2,000 plus higher than them. So that is that mid-level group that I think is going to be very viable. Do you like any of those guys or dislike any of those guys?
I do. I like them all, and especially Scheffler, M, and English because they played last week.
Beautiful. All right, before we get to the biggest part of the show, which people from, wake the kids and pets and get everybody up, because Mr. Andrew Hansen's about to share his value plays. But before we do that, how about we get a very quick word, because we know we're not losing anybody because they're going to be sitting, chewing their nails, sweat coming down like Jordan Peele, waiting for those value picks. So here is a word from my man at BetUS.com.pa.
Wake up, sports bettors. Sports are in high gear at BetUS.com, so put down the beer and make every sporting event more exciting by putting stakes on the line at BetUS. Earn bragging rights over your friends as you rake in the cash from each week's betting action. But don't settle for any other book. Choose America's favorite sports book with over 25 trusted years in the industry, BetUS. You need a sports book with integrity and longevity, but more importantly, you need a sports book that pays. BetUS has your game with action on football, baseball, basketball, MMA, golf, horse racing, and even esports. No other sportsbook welcomes newcomers like BetUS with their jaw-dropping sign-up bonuses. Sign up now with promo code CoachTalk for 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,000. The best in the biz. Now you have the best book in the business with the best DFS provider in the business, Coach Talk. Create your account to make point spread bets, futures bets, prop bets, entertainment bets, live bets, and more. No other sportsbook is as committed to their members as BetUS. Sign up now and get in on the winning side of the ball.
Here you go, Andrew. Best sports book on the planet, and as our man said, best DFS provider on the planet. So we got you covered on both ends. Real quickly, mention it one more time. If you're watching us on YouTube, real push this month to get the thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little alarm button so you know when our pods post, because we have several football ones coming up at different times, some late, some early, and we want to give you that edge there. If you want to follow us on Twitter, a lot of information. We're always posting there. We're all at DFS Coach Talk. I'm at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. Andrew is at Language Olympic, and Shane is at Sugar. He's at DET Sports Shane. So he may have to get a new one.
He might need to change it to just Sugar Shane.
I know. It sounds better. Instagram, DFS_Coach Talk. Love to have you there. And if you're looking to jump on, want some info, and look more into what we have to offer. Jump on our website. There's also a spot where you can ask us any questions or anything on there. You can also tweet us questions or respond to the podcast. We'll answer all of them. I don't think we've ever missed one yet, have we, Andrew?
I don't think so.
Except that one guy that told me to shut up and let you talk more. I tried to erase it. It wouldn't go away.
Yeah.
All right. So here it is. With no further ado, Andrew Hansen and the Lock Washer value plays.
Here they come. This week, it's only 2, and they're the exact same price on DraftKings.
Okay.
Brendan Steele and Keegan Bradley.
Wow.
$6,500. And what you get if you invest in those guys is a pair of folks who are hitting the ball much better here of late with their ball striking. Okay. So far in 2020, the new season, Brendan Steele is 27th, Keegan Bradley 24th. He's played 10 rounds, so about as big of a sample size as you can get in this season. Right. And last week, these guys fall in that group of guys who missed the cut. But Brendan Steele was 6 under. Keegan Bradley was 5 under. As I mentioned, the cut was 7 under. So really tough number to get to. So right down the street, they're playing well, and there's no cut this week. I think they're underpriced at 6,500. And I think you need to get probably somebody from that price range on DraftKings. You know, if you want to play a stud like JT, then you could go with both of them. But the interesting thing with the pricing this week is that on FanDuel, I don't think you need to go there. Even though there are awesome prices over there too. Steele is 7,600, Keegan Bradley 74. But once you start playing with the builds, I think you'll find that on FanDuel, the pricing is a little bit softer this week with PGA. You can get a lot of the top guys in there and not have to go down, even though it's a no-cut event. So to me, it's more about the value play on DraftKings this week, and those are the 2 guys who are at the front of the list for me.
Very interesting. You know, not bad players. I haven't personally had luck when I take Keegan Bradley. I think
he's boom or bust. He really is
boom or bust. I know I've thrown a few adjectives his way that he probably wouldn't have appreciated on sometimes, but yeah, he's a guy that can jump up and bite you and be there or miss the cut. You just don't know. Right. But GPP plays for some of these value guys are definitely the way to go. I have a question for you on a guy. You said JT. This is a different JT. JT Poston. He was a late ad, and you know we know he's been playing hot. He finished 3rd. Then he was in the running on Sunday. Ended up 27th. But you know, hot, long. As far as his distance off the tee, and a guy that's in form, made 18 out of 26 cuts, and he's sub 7,000. Think he's decent value, or am I reaching?
No, I think he's worth considering. You know, he's a guy that kind of flies under the radar, but he's been playing really well. And you know me, I like guys that get the late addition because it just feels like a free roll. So he jumps in there with Dustin Johnson with the late COVID news, and it's a perfect scenario because he's already there. He played last week, solid, and like you said, under 7,000. I think he's worth considering.
The other guy I'll mention because his price is so low and he is talk about boom or bust. Bubba Watson's only 7,300. He made 15 out of 22 cuts like he normally does, you know, and he is a birdie machine. You know, he was on that list. Eagle Machine. He was on the list. We know he can bomb it and he can putt. So that's the other guy that I'm looking at now. When you do roster guys like Bubba, you have to have a little jar of Tums with you because he's either going to make you, thrilled or, you got to take a few Tums to get through some of the shots. But if you're looking for a GPP play or you want to try to pay up for one of the guys, I mean, some of our listeners may want to go up to a Rahm or JT or McIlroy or Schauffele. If you do, you got to balance that out with somebody. And, certainly Bubba has done a lot more. So he has multiple green jackets. Doesn't he have 2 of them?
He does. Yeah.
So when you're talking a guy with that kind of ability that can still stroke the ball the way he does, somebody to think about anyway. So
yeah, his price was an eye opener for me as I was scrolling through.
Yeah.
I agree. For a guy who eats up the par fives like he does, 7,300 is a little bit cheap.
Yeah, can't beat it. And I think in one of those tournaments that hardly anybody played in here 3 weeks ago or so, he was like the 5th highest priced guy. So to go from that all the way down to 73, I thought was a little intriguing. So we'll see, man. I might be the Victor Hoblin guy today, but I'll tell you as we close this projection. I'm going to give you my favorite player.
Okay.
I already told you, didn't I? It's Scotty Scheffler. Scotty
Scheffler. Okay.
I'm sticking with Scotty Scheffler. I think he's young. He's been there for the second consecutive weeks. Sub 69 average scoring, high on the list of eagles and birdies, 7 top 10s, 20 of 25 cuts made. I'm sorry, 19 of 25 cuts made. I mean, he's right there. I love him. But that is my main deal there. I don't have anybody, to say these are the guys to just dead fade. But as you so admirably brought up there, I think if you do want to fade a few guys, fade some of those big sluggers like Tyrrell Hatton and the other guys that just flew over from Europe and that are trying to quarantine and get all that set. I think you need to give those guys a week or two.
Agreed.
Excellent, man. All right. You got anything else for our golf watchers?
No, just, join us if you want those lineups. Plug and play on FanDuel. Had a good night in NFL last night with our hybrid lineup and our GPP #1 on FanDuel cashed. So that's kind of a fun thing where you can just take the lineup and plug it in. We're allowed to do that with FanDuel and not on DraftKings. So that's why we provide what we do. I'm excited and going to roll with mostly fading those big studs who haven't played since the U.S. Open and see how it plays out.
It's going to be a fun one, and it's going to be a packed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday of sports. It's going to be fantastic. So terrific. If you sign up at betus.com.pa, do not forget to use the promo code Coach Talk, all one word, no space. That's the only way you get that 125 bonus. And if you're going to call in to join, they have given us, it's going so well, and they our people are jumping on board so much, they've given us our own private line. So if you're calling in as a Coach Talk member or listener and you're looking to join betus.com.pa, when it asks you for your extension, our man, his name is Jensen, and it's extension 2613, and he will take care of you. Even more special being a Coach Talk person. So excited about that. It's going to be a great day today as we prepare for a huge weekend. Got some good baseball playoffs tonight. We hope you listen to this in plenty of time. Remember, you can get it in if you want to reserve your spots for golf. You can get them in the morning before work or before they start teeing off. And our charity of choice here is mambon3.org. That's MAMBAONTHREE.org. Fantastic charity set up by the Bryant family. So that is it, my man. Any final words from the switch hitting golfer here?
Great to see everybody. Chat with you. Thanks for joining us.
We love it, man. We really do appreciate it. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday, October 14th. Putting this out plenty early enough for you to get a good listen. And I think you'll enjoy watching. If you haven't watched golf in a while, this is a fun one to watch. It is just, I think I would be staring at all the scenery and be missing the ball here the way that course is. We got to get out there and play. You know what, Andrew? Maybe next time when NBA Summer League comes back, which hopefully it's in 2022, we're still planning on having a Coach Talk get together there for the NBA Summer League. We'll have to stay at an MGM property and play this course.
Let's do it.
That's something I would never done, and I would love to experience. So, but here's the challenge, a 2-year out challenge. I will play you straight up, but you have to play lefty.
Okay, I'm game. I'm ready.
Or do you normally play lefty?
I'm locked in as lefty now, so you might
have
to.
Oh, well, you have to play righty.
How about 9 holes righty and 9 holes lefty?
I'll accept that challenge.
And I can only bring 14 clubs still, so I got to strategize with what clubs I bring.
Okay.
Maybe I'll bring a righty and a lefty driver, a righty and a lefty putter, righty and a lefty wedge, and then maybe 3 irons for each side. That'd be fun.
I will be counting.
I'm game. Got to follow the rules.
What is your handicap?
It's about a 10.
10? Okay. Yeah. I'm a 19, so I'm a
okay.
bogey golfer. But the 9 holes of you playing switch, that would
even it out.
That would even out. You may do some. I'm sure we'll have some drunk DFS talk pros following us around, harassing us. So we may have to put some of that on one of our podcasts. Put a few clips on there.
if only we could get sponsored, like Phil and Tiger, get a $9 million purse at stake for that match.
Yeah, for that match, they may pay us not to wear their stuff. Oh, Lord. I tell you what, I pray for the day life's back to normal and all the events and sports start and everything else. It's Christmas is Christmas and it's a blast in our family. But because we're such fanatic basketball people, we look forward to that 5-game NBA Christmas more than anything else. It was like our Super Bowl, and now it's gone. And there were the Mavs, being a Mavs fan, they said they were going to originally they were going to schedule them against the Clippers for Christmas Day. So it is what it is. We're thankful we have sports and they're hanging in there, and hopefully we get this vaccine out there and we all get back at it and do some of the normal things again. But we got all kinds of things planned when life gets back to normal here with Coach Talk. I had all kinds of ideas, when we were launching this of, once a year get-togethers, doing just a Coach Talk live final for, a couple of sports that are going on at the same time. I got some great ideas that will be an absolute blast for our members. So can't wait to roll those out. Hopefully in 2021, they're saying the vaccine's around the corner. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that one. So, all right, man, that's it. The challenge has been made. We're ready I'm going to have to get out there and swing the golf club between now and then for sure. All right. Great day. Great show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll definitely be back next Wednesday for our next PGA show. Enjoy all these podcasts the next 4 or 5 days with Andrew and Shane. They will give you the NFL football knowledge like none other. So thanks again for joining us, and we hope you have a great day. And we look forward to catching you again tomorrow when we look to crush it in DFS.